concerned. But as an organization, the Pentagon doesn't seem to be interested in investigating. Why not, is the question. Christopher Mellon is a National Security Affairs Advisor for the To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science. He's a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, and he joins us tonight. Mr. Mellon, thanks for coming on.
My pleasure, Tucker. Thank you.
So I want to make sure I'm not overstating that. Military pilots have seen at relatively close range objects, aircraft apparently doing things that aircraft we didn't think were able to do, and they've taken video of that. Is that true?
That's true, although that's only part of the evidence. What's so compelling about the evidence is we have our finest military personnel and our most sophisticated sensors all corroborating the information independently on multiple platforms. So some of these platforms are the same platforms we would use to defend the United States from a ballistic missile attack from, say, North Korea. If those systems are malfunctioning in some way, finding that out alone would be a huge benefit. I don't think that's the case. There's no evidence of that. Let me tell you a brief story that may add some color and make this a little bit more palpable. After my op-ed appeared with the video, I got a call from an individual retired from the Defense Department and who had worked on these issues, and I asked him, I said, do you have any context for that video? Do you have any details? He told me that was one of two videos that came into the Pentagon from the commander of a carrier battle group. And these are his words. He described it as a plea for help, end quote.
That's terrifying. So, I mean, these are aircraft unidentified that are operating in very close proximity to the U.S. military, to ships and planes. We can assume it's not American, or they wouldn't be that close. Can we assume that it's aircraft from a foreign country? I mean, do we have a working theory on this? What does the Pentagon think about this?
We don't have a working theory, and the most fundamental problem, and it's a self-inflicted problem, and frankly a fairly easy problem to correct, and one of the reasons I wanted to write the article is because we have on the one hand something of immense, almost incalculable strategic importance, something that raises fundamental questions about the viability of our air defenses, about our aircraft. Many of these incidents have occurred in recent years within minutes of flying distance of the National Capital Region. So we have a very real and compelling body of evidence. On the other hand, we know that many of the problems can be easily solved if someone would just step forward. So what I'm talking about here is to provide an analogy that people may be able to relate to more readily than the complex DoD bureaucracy. The bombings recently in Austin, Texas, imagine if every time one of these bombs went off, you had a different police department responding, and none of these people were talking to each other, and nobody was in charge, right? Those bombings would probably still be going on. That's what's happening today. The different services, departments, agencies, the FBI,
of course,
people are gaining information, they're not sharing it, which is very reminiscent, unfortunately, of what happened before 9/11.
So give us, in the 50 seconds we have left, give us a sense of the scale here. You say these things are happening over the past 20 years. How many, roughly, would you say, credible sightings there have been by the U.S. military?
Yeah, it's hard to say over the last 20 years, and there's a difference. And one of the differences is that we're deploying much more capable sensors that provide a higher degree of fidelity. So whereas 15 years ago, we might get pilot reports saying, I saw a bright light out there. Now we're getting reports from an Aegis-class cruiser that says this thing came down from 80,000 feet, descended to 20,000 feet, dropped to 50 feet and hovered, then maneuvered towards the carrier. And then pilots are independently seeing it and confirming it and filming it. So it's
Mr. Mellon, we're out of time. I hope this tape goes everywhere. Thank you for your bravery. Good to see you. We'll be right back.